So the Queen's coffin will fly to London today. What else can we expect?
We're going to see an incredibly moving departure for the Queen's coffin from Scotland, which is a place she had such a strong affinity with. And she's going to be accompanied on her final journey back to London by Princess Anne. They're going to arrive at RAF Northolt. There will be a lot of sort of pomp and circumstance around that, and then she will return to Buckingham Palace to lie overnight in the Bow Room. And the members of the royal family, including the King, the Queen Consort, are going to be there.
And I was going to say, who else can we expect to see?
It's too early to confirm all the names, but it's fair to say that several members of the Queen's closest family will be present. It's going to be a private moment. This is something that the family want to do without cameras present. It's a chance for them to say their final goodbyes before, if you like, handing the Queen over to the nation for the lying in state.
And I would imagine that group, it would be made up of her family and potentially even some close friends to have that final moment with her.
I think it's fair to assume that that will be the case, but details may be coming out later on in the day. Because it's a private event, understandably, we're not being given all the details at this moment.
And before all that happens, King Charles is in Northern Ireland today. So what has he been doing while he's been there? It's been beloved by him for so many years.
King Charles has had an incredibly busy day. He hasn't stopped to draw breath, and he's already packed in a visit to Hillsborough Castle in Northern Ireland. He has received a message of condolences from the Speaker of the Northern Ireland Assembly, who's a member of Sinn Féin, so that in itself was a very significant moment, because this is a party that's traditionally obviously been opposed to the royal family and wants United Ireland. So this is a very big moment. He's also attending a service at St Anne's Cathedral, and that will be another moment to reflect on the Queen's life, and he'll be meeting members of the public outside.
So we haven't seen many of the Queen's grandchildren in the recent days. When can we expect to see them again? Is that a purposeful kind of stepping back?
I think it's fair to say that there are very important moments for the King and Queen Consort coming up, and no one wants to overshadow these. And these are particularly important, his visits to Northern Ireland, to Wales later this week, and in Scotland. But I do think we will see more of the grandchildren in the coming days, not least in the procession behind the Queen's coffin.
And Princess Anne, we spoke a little bit about it yesterday, but she has remained with her mother, and she will be on that flight back as well. She really is her mother's daughter, isn't she?
Princess Anne has just been incredibly stoic throughout this. She's obviously deeply, deeply saddened by the loss of her mother. I think we can all see the grief on her face, but she is duty bound like the Queen was before her, and she in many ways is a very similar character to her late father, the Duke of Edinburgh, and I think we've seen that coming through. Her sort of decision to be by her mother's side right up to the very end has been incredibly touching.
So during the walkabout, Prince William did tell a well-wisher that he's kind of giving his children that sense of normality by allowing them to stay in school. Can we assume that of the rest of the royal great-grandchildren?
I think it's fair to assume that other parents, other grandchildren of the Queen will want their children to have as normal an experience at the moment as possible, and to stay in their routines. But I'm sure they're also all taking time out to talk to them carefully about what's happened and to express their emotions at this really difficult time.